So why are we talking about fatigue, actually?
So with the Mind Map Monday call on the
What,
previous Monday, the
why that
reason I
topic?
raised that topic was because the week before we had been discussing self-control. And one of the things that we said was self-control is a fatigable or a
Oh,
depletable
okay.
resource. So that was number one. Number two was the entire sort of week last week, I had person after person, in the clinic, basically presenting either physically notably fatigued or sort of mentally and emotionally fatigued. And some of the corporate work that I'd been doing, there were people who are of the most resilient people I know who were saying, there was fatigue setting in. So there was professional fatigue. Certainly throughout the last week, there was relational fatigue. So fatigue was a huge subject. And in fact, quite ironically, last night I was quickly, fetching one of my daughters from her dance class. And I quickly had to go through the shop just to get something for dinner.
Okay.
Well, Bron had made dinner, but she just asked for something that I needed to get for her. And I saw a friend of mine, somebody who we've been like promising to get together for 2 years now. He picks up his daughter and, vice versa. And I was just on a call and I just put the phone down and I was like, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. He said, I'm just so tired. And I was like, okay, so everybody's struggling with fatigue. So I felt quite guilty because I actually felt really energetic with him. But fatigue is a massive issue.
Okay, so I was looking at fatigue and realized there's a quite nice discrimination.
Hmm.
So fatigue is a daily, and this is what I would kind of like when I was going over. Fatigue is daily lack of energy that cannot be rectified easily with just usual things like sleep. While tiredness is something that I can rectify with one good sleep and, or two couple of nights or just switching off or going for a walk. So I did like that because we are finding that fatigue we are talking about here does not look like, oh, just life got me and last few days have been tough. We are talking about something that settles almost chronically, something that is undercurrent of the sense of life they're having. So that was more what I was picking up.
That's interesting because what you described there is typically how one would clinically determine something or clinically define something. So we would typically, if you ask me what's fatigue, I'd say it's a state of tiredness. Now, if you say, well, what is it clinically? It's probably more along the lines of, well, let's define what that means. It'll be the state, it'll be how one feels, it'll be a duration, it'll be an extent of how much it's sort of spilling over into day-to-day function and how it's impacting. So all of those things are usually what come together when one is looking for a clinical definition. So certainly we can look at it clinically, which is typically what I'm seeing a lot of the time. But I think that a lot of the people are just tired.
Physically tired.
Just physically tired, mentally tired, emotionally tired. And, there are those that would fit that or the definition that you've sort of given there in terms of fatigue itself, as opposed to a sense of tiredness that a good night's sleep and maybe, cleaning up the diet and a bit of exercise or a walk on the beach might improve.